Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is October 4th, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Hi.
We also have Viking Vaste.
Hello.
And we have Bambi the Shield Maiden.
Hello there.
And joining us for the first time is Viking Karolus.
Howdy.
Hey, Karolus. So good to have you on. Karolus is one of the players on my server, and this is his first time on the podcast. We're excited to have him. Karolus, what part of the world are you from?
I'm from the United States, more specifically the upper Midwest, and even more specifically the state of Minnesota.
Ah, okay, great. And I always like to ask people how they came about the name that they choose to use for their character, their online alias. And I see that you have Karolus there, and it doesn't immediately ring a bell as relating to something. Can you tell us how you came about choosing that name?
Yeah, I came up with that name a few years ago when I was starting a Skyrim playthrough, and I was playing a Nord character. And I was looking for a Scandinavian version of the name Charles, which is pretty much just Carl. And so I was trying to find something a little bit different. I found Karolus or Karolus as a Latinized version of it. And so I took that name on. You'll find it spelled with a C usually, but I kind of liked the K. Seemed a little more sharp. But then when Valheim rolled around and came time to join your server, I figured I'd dust that name off and use it here.
Oh, cool. That's a neat transition to go from Charles to Karolus in that manner. Have you used this name, previous to my servers and other games or online identities?
Not online. It was really just for that Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim playthrough with the Nord character. So this is it's still pretty fresh. I've used other online, aliases for various things in the past, but it's pretty exclusive to Skyrim and then Valheim, and specifically the first time that I used it was joining your server. So
nice. And MD, you got some questions for Karolus?
I do. So, what were some of your favorite games before you discovered Valheim?
Immediately before Valheim, I was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, as it's referred to. For those who don't know, that's one of the battle royale kind of survival style games. Never got into Fortnite, but played a whole lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Skyrim, of course, sunk a lot of hours into that, like I'm sure a lot of other people have. And then also recently before that would be the space sim, Elite Dangerous. That's another game that I spent a lot of time in, but most recently it's been just a lot of Valheim.
And how did you discover Valheim?
It goes to actually the group of people that I was playing PUBG with. We were playing a whole lot of that, and when you're playing PUBG, there's some stress to it. It's especially when you're getting down. If you're in the final few survivors, your adrenaline gets going, and it's fun. But at the same time, the community around it's not super friendly unless you're playing with a group of people that you know directly. So that group that I was playing with actually found Valheim shortly after, probably in the first week of that launch, where it sold the crazy 5 million copies, and we hopped over and tried playing that, and it was a refreshing change of pace from playing nothing but a battle royale style survival game. It was more relaxing. We all really enjoyed it, and that was the transition. There was I think at the time everybody in the Steam world was jumping on board to Valheim, and I was in that kind of early wave of early adopters.
And-
How do you find the server?
So I found the server. Tell me if you've heard this story before. The group that you started playing with, they went back to doing other things, and I kept playing solo for a while. I was doing that for quite, several months, just playing there on my own. And eventually got to the point where this is getting, it's not boring, but I felt like there was more opportunity if I could play with other people who were in the same mindset as me and wanted to share builds, adventure together. And so I just pulled up Google and I started searching. I think I searched for like Valheim LFG, looking for group or something like that. And I came across a Reddit post that was written by one of the members. I don't know if he's still active, but it was a really compelling kind of story about his experience joining the server. And I realized when I was reading that, I recognized that name because while I wasn't an early Jiroc YouTube subscriber, I do recall seeing a post back on social media many, many months prior. And I remember watching that video, and I think it was about how I'm supposed to build over my left shoulder. And so stumbling across that Reddit testimonial and then the name recognition from watching your video months prior, I decided, I'm going to apply and see how this goes. And had my interview with Gwen, and shortly thereafter was admitted, and I guess been here for a while now. So it's a great place to be.
Yeah, it's been awesome having you too, because you've gotten so involved with the community that you became a helper, and that's invaluable to have volunteers to assist people when they have questions, and it's when we have new members come in. So appreciate that you've joined those ranks and volunteering to help where you can.
Yeah, happy to, whatever I can do to give back. I think I started I was maybe a little bit of a late bloomer as far as when I joined the server in December. And so I was around for quite a few months before I kind of came out of my shell. And actually, it's overwhelming, right? When you first join an established server like that. And so I spent the first month probably just slowly taking things in. There'd be a pop-up event. I think the first one that I recall was trolls attacking Naomi. And I figured, all right, well, if I'm going to interact with the community, what better time than now? And so it's just kind of steadily grown from there up to the point where I felt like I wanted to help contribute in what way I could. And yeah, I love it here.
Well, so you joined so far back in December that you remember when we used to still raid Naomi.
That's right.
The city's so big and has so many instances now that if we send any raids there's too much lag, and then you can't see the mobs move, and it's just useless combat. But
right.
Those were fun days, yeah, back then. Well, so since you've been a helper, obviously every member of my server has gone through it says interview process, but it's really like a meet and greet to get on and ask questions and learn a little bit about the servers before people jump in, because we do have so much to offer and so much going on. And then you became a helper. Can you tell us now, as a helper, you've been a helper for a while now, right? It's been several months.
Yeah, I joined the helper crew shortly before the launch of season 2, because that's always going to be a surge in new interest and new people wanting to join the server. And so you'd put out a call, and I was interested, and we had a meeting, and I think that initial influx was pretty overwhelming. I shadowed my first interview with Bambi to kind of get a feel for how things go, and since then I've done, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so interviews here and there, and that's I like beyond the interview, and once a new member is kind of welcomed in, I like doing the hands-on kind of like checking in, seeing how they're doing after after they've joined, are they overwhelmed? Are they finding that the server meets their expectations or play styles? I think that's one of the helpful things that the existing community members can do, is kind of help set expectations, answer questions that players have if things aren't maybe going how they expected, and just help nurture that and help them feel like they're a member of the positive community that's here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And wanted to ask, you said about a dozen interviews. Is there something about that experience of doing that interview, that meet and greet with people, the new players to our server, that you really enjoy? Are there common themes that come up, common questions that come up? What's that experience been like for you?
Definitely common themes. I think for the majority, if players have got to the point where they're interested and want to sign up, by the time that they've got to that interview or meet and greet process, they're already ahead of the game, because they wouldn't be here unless they were looking for kind of a like-minded experience, a like-minded community. And that's definitely the recurring theme that I've seen, is that it's not like every meet and greet or interview is the same, but you certainly do hear the recurring theme of I've seen the videos on YouTube, or I've followed the Discord community for a while, and everything. It just seems like a positive and healthy community, and really, that's my opportunity to reaffirm that yep, you're in the right spot. And so then when it comes time to kind of make my recommendation to the admin team for kind of that final step of admitting them to the servers, it's really just a confirmation more than anything else. It really attracts, I think, like I said, like-minded people.
And have you ever played in an online community before, like with a big Discord channel, and gotten involved?
Not really. This is my first experience like that. I've played MMOs before. I've played for a while, competitive first-person shooters where you're, in a clan that you're really more just competing with. But for the most part, I haven't formed any friendships from prior online experiences. It's more been, if I'm playing with friends online, they're real life friends that I'm playing with, and that's the difference here. And that's, I think, a little bit also, I mentioned I had been here for a couple months before I kind of warmed up to things, because it was new to me. But now it's like home. So.
Well, that's awesome. That's kind of what I hoped for, because later in the podcast, we're going to tell a little bit about us and the experience that I have. The subject we're going to cover today is a little preview, is really interesting gaming experiences that we've had, or some of our favorite gaming experiences. And one of my favorite gaming experiences was with the community in a previous game that I want to talk about. Because we're not going to cover Valheim in that about us, because we've covered so much about our Valheim experiences. But and
okay,
what you're
fine.
But yeah, so what you said there is kind of what I had always hoped for when I created a gaming community, was to get the experience that I had once in another game years ago. And even though I'd played many games and been on Discord servers and joined guilds and clans and all that, it never quite like a cohesive community where I made really good friends with the people I was playing with. Do you feel like that you've made friends with people here that you may even stay in touch with? Say, Jiroc disappears and the server just vanishes. Not that that's going to happen, but like, are you feeling like some of these people in the community are becoming friends with you?
Yeah, like both in game and then the benefit of Discord, where I'll be out and about doing something in real life and might come across something that, hey, the community might be interested in this. It's that blending, the convenience of being able to snap a picture of Viking armor and swords in a museum and post it in the Discord group for people to see and talk about. More recently, we've had just some conversations about music, metal and stuff like that. So it's more it's a community that goes well beyond the bounds of an online game. So to answer your question, yes, it's the personalities, the people. There's definitely friendships there, and should there ever be in-person meetups, I think that'd be cool, because I know that there'd be interest in it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for that. Maybe even as soon as next year, I can work with Gwen to get something organized. I just renewed my passport, so I'm ready to go if we can get something going.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, so real quickly before we move on, I just wanted to ask you about I wanted to ask you because I see that you've very nicely framed your picture. Your head is down here in the frame, like very small instead of like more prominent in the frame. But that's because you have framed yourself with some really cool images. So let me zoom in on you. So obviously you have the Iron Maiden poster up there. And I'm a big fan of Iron Maiden too. So awesome. Good on you for that. I see a guitar below you. Do you play guitar?
I know kind of how to play guitar. I'll leave it at that. It was something I picked up, much later in life than I think a lot of people. And it was more of a hobby than anything else. So I'm not going to make any other claims than that. Something fun to play around with.
No, I won't ask you to pick it up and play something for us. And then you have a very carefully placed towel. Is that a towel? The white towel?
Yep. Let's see over there. That's so being from Minnesota, I'm a fan of the Minnesota Twins and baseball team. That also might explain a little bit about my entry into the Feast competition. That was housed around a baseball field with the stadium food. So yeah, I'm a pretty big Minnesota sports fan, and also Minnesota Vikings. That's another fandom of mine. So
nice.
Not like a super like sports fanatic, but I like my local teams.
Your local sports ball teams.
Yep.
Yeah. People say, what's your, are you a fan of your, what team are you a fan of? Who's your team? And I say, I like all the sports balls. There's a ball involved. There's athletics. It's hard work. Yeah. I like it all. It's just fun. I like to go to games, hang out with people. It's just social and, it's for me, it's just all good fun. I don't really like a diehard fan or hardcore fan of anyone in particular. But so something else that I can't really make out is looks like maybe a little plate, that little circular thing above the twins.
Yep, that's a collector. It's actually got Klingons on it.
It's Klingons. Okay,
kind of China plate. That would actually be a good segue into a couple of the other items that you probably see there.
Well, yeah, I see I forget what it's called, but the big curved weapon at the very top. That's the one of the Klingon weapons.
Yep, that's a Klingon Battleaxe up at the top. And then, below that is the Klingon Mek'leth, which is more like the short sword version of it.
That one I'm not so familiar with. Yeah,
they introduced that later, a little bit later in the series. The Battleaxe is much more iconic and noticeable, I think, probably to the casual or non-Star Trek fan. The Mek'leth was added probably around the Deep Space Nine series, because the actor Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, wanted something that was a little more easy to wield, something a little bit more like a machete, and so they took that into account, and now they're the two kind of complementary Klingon swords.
Well, yeah, and I can see the orange wrap around one of the parts of that smaller weapon. I'm guessing that's where he would hold it and kind of wield it as like a little short sword or something.
Exactly, and it's inspired by a real world. I can't remember which specific area of the world it comes from, but there's a real world kind of inspiration to that machete style as well.
Cool. And of course, you've got one of the Star Trek shuttles underneath it.
Yep, that's a print that it's actually a signed print by the designer of that. It's that's also from the Deep Space Nine series. It's referred to as a runabout, and just kind of figured it fit well there amidst all I put the Batleth up first, and then the Mechleth, and everything kind of framed there. So, like you can tell, I'm a Trekkie, and again, going back to a build competition, you might recall when I gained a little notoriety
when you trolled us.
When I trolled you, yes.
You should have won. I'm a Trekkie as well.
We had a Star Wars build competition, if you haven't seen it, and for his entry, he built a Star Trek ship. It's like the Enterprise, right?
Yep, it was the Enterprise.
Yep. Well, so you've got two other things on your wall. And so I just want to send you my address so that you can just put those in a box and mail them to me, because I don't have those yet. And I'm a huge fan of Minecraft. That someday I want to open up a Minecraft server, just because I love the game so much. But yeah, your sword and your axe there. Are those like made of foam or some kind of wood press, or what is the material?
Yeah, they're foam. They're from an online shop that unfortunately I don't think it's around anymore. It was called Think Geek.
Oh yeah, they shut down.
Yeah, and I was really surprised when that place closed, because that was a good place for all sorts of nerdery and sci-fi and various different lores, and that's where those came from. So they fit on the wall quite nicely.
And do you know if those were officially licensed merchandise, or they were?
Yeah, they were. There was a lot of Minecraft product through that website, which I don't know. That might have even been before the Microsoft acquisition.
That far back, yeah.
So I don't know to what level of licensing and merchandising it takes place with Minecraft these days, but I'm sure there's wouldn't have to look too hard to find something similar, or if not that, there's always Etsy, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's so many great products that you could have for Valheim, and I'd love to support Iron Gate. I mean, I know they've made tons of money on the game already that they didn't expect, and it's this huge financial success for them. So they don't really need a little money from a little bit of merchandise that they would get. But I still feel kind of like I don't want to buy the non-official merchandise, but I kind of do because it looks so cool.
I experience that with bands a lot too, where you'll see on social media a whole bunch of unlicensed stuff. I'd much rather have my dollars be going to support the band and not some person who's just trying to kind of free ride off of a name.
Yeah. Well, cool. It's so good to have you with us, and we're gonna do some quick announcements here. Let's see, what do we've got? Let's talk about anything interesting done recently. MD, you got something that you did over this last week. You want to tell us about it?
I mean, in real life, I'm helping build a tool shed.
Oh, how big is the tool shed?
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculously huge. It's my husband is 6'4", so of course he wants a tool shed that he's not going to hit his head on, and he wants to insert a solar kiln into the top of it so that we can get wood, and he can do woodworking and all of that. So it is funny because we were also talking, and I was like, oh well, if what if we did just like a single slant roof rather than a normal roof? And we looked at that. We did the math. It was actually better to do a slightly off roof. So like one end has a longer pitch than the other. Or I don't know the correct terms. But anyway, and we're doing this whole thing. So it starts at, I think, 6 or 8 feet on the short end. And then it's a good 12 feet on the front end.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
And then we've got this cantilevered overhang so that he can have an area where he can store his forge and some other stuff so that he can do metalworking. And it's gonna be huge. And I've been helping paint walls because I can sit in a chair and do that.
Yeah. Well, I know what you guys are going through because during the pandemic, I built a 7x7 by 9 feet tall shed in my backyard, and it was a full 40-hour week. Like with me and someone else, it took us a full 40 hours to put that thing together. So, and yours, it sounds bigger.
Yeah, it's like I think it's 8 feet by 6 feet, and then with a 4 or 5 foot overhang. Yeah, I think it's total 14 or 16 feet long by 8 feet or 6 or 8 feet wide. I can't remember. It's huge. It's ridiculous. And this project has only been able to be worked on over the weekends. And so
it's going to take a little while.
Did you mock it up in Valheim first?
Yeah. How many instances are there?
Yeah. Bambi.
No, the design has been on my husband. But yeah, no, he's. I would have designed it in Valheim, but he used a CAD program.
Oh yeah, there you go. And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show. Well, Vaste, what have you been up to over this last week? We got some exciting stuff coming up on the server, don't we?
Yeah, we have something really cool. And due to that, I spent most of my week doing either reading or testing mods for the game. So I went through all the page of Thunderstorm. I grabbed the first 50 pages. I started reading everything that was there.
What did you read the pages for? What? Sorry,
I got the database, the Thunderstorm page, where it lists the mods.
Oh,
I read all the names to try to find something. Yeah.
Oh, so you're just trying to read about every single mod to see which we might want to use on the new modded server, huh?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whenever I'm not able to play the game.
Well, yeah, these mods almost are like their own game, just kind of inserted in Valheim with the content they add. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to go through if you're trying to figure out which mods we might want to use on the new modded server.
There's a lot of mind-blowing things that I don't know how they came up with, and there's a lot of weird stuff that it should not be there.
Well, yeah, that leads in to my announcement is that we have an official launch date for the new modded server, and it's coming up quick. It's going to be Friday, October 21st. So you want to put in for the day off. It's going to launch probably around 12 p.m. on Pacific Daylight Time on the 21st, on Friday, October 21st. So, Friday. Tell your employer ahead of time. I think I'm going to be sick on that day. I thought it would be fun to kind of kick off the weekend, with the launch on a Friday. We try to do it Thursday, Friday, but this time because of scheduling, that Friday works best. But then also it kind of leads into the next weekend being Halloween, and then all of November, December, which is just like 2 giant months of holidays, right? Well, at least here in the US because of our Thanksgiving, which I actually have a little prediction. I think that Coffee Stain, if they're wise and they're pretty good publishing company for video games, and they did Valheim for Iron Gate, if they're wise and Iron Gate can make it happen, I think that they'll try to push Mistlands out before Thanksgiving, because the U.S. is a huge market for them, and to get that out before the Thanksgiving holiday is going to get a lot of new purchases, I would imagine. You know, somebody who's played the game before goes, "Oh, Mistlands out, I'm going back. Now I'll grab my friends to buy the game and come play." So, but
I
having
have to really agree with you.
yeah, right? Doesn't that seem to make sense?
Well, they've also done some like really cheeky references to being thankful or like feast.
Yes.
Like very
Turkey
subtle,
dinner?
very subtle mentions of feasting. And I'm like, that would be really, really awesome. Yeah. Like, no, I have the exact same thought. Like, it would be really, really clever and well timed if they released it around the mid to end of November.
Yeah. Well, and if they can't do that, obviously they'll get it out before the Christmas holiday, because that's
right.
At least here in the US. I don't know how it goes for the rest of the world. It's usually like 2 weeks off for a lot of people, depending on the, industry you're in. But yeah, 2 weeks off to just sit around and play Valheim all day. Right.
Yep.
I'm not, this isn't an official announcement, but I'm going to try to pick a day to do a 12-hour stream to play the new modded server myself. Now I'm actually, this is the first time I have not participated much in the creation of one of the new servers. Vaste and one of my other admins, Kondo, are doing that. And one of the things I love about that is now I can just jump in and it's all new for me too. So I was thinking, I got to pick a day, maybe that Saturday after the launch, that I might try to do a 12-hour stream. But I'll announce that, see if anybody else wants to jump in for all or part of that. And yeah, should be fun. So if you are out there and you're thinking about joining, you want to try some new modded content while we're waiting for Mistlands, this is at least a month before Mistlands will drop, right? If it comes out before our Thanksgiving holiday, you get a full month to play on the modded server. And we've actually set up our modded server where we've left the Mistlands barren, and we have a mod that will populate it with new Mistlands content. So when the Mistlands does drop, the new modded server should get all the Mistlands content as well. So pretty exciting stuff. We have lots of new, we're mostly doing content mods for that. So I logged on the other day with Kondo just to do some testing. Oh my goodness. So many new creatures that are even like in our season 2, we had some new creatures, but there are so many more. And there's a certain person here with us today who's going to absolutely freak out when they see one of these things. You'll understand this comment after the modded server drops and who I'm referring to, but I don't want to say too much there. And then
Spiders.
I'm
Right. I
sorry.
was just thinking Bambi is going to have to face more spiders.
And then, of course, yeah, there's new items to build and craft. So what's really fun is the modded server. We looked at content mods that add content for various types of gameplay. So if you like combat, there's some new combat stuff. If you like to build, there's new build pieces. And if you like to decorate, there's new decorating pieces. And there's a few other types of things for different gameplay styles. But one of the most exciting and one that will develop more throughout the life of the server is a new quest system. So where you actually have NPCs that you walk up and talk to, and then they give you a quest to go out in the world and do, kind of like in an MMO. So
I have seen that mod. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, the world of mods, it's so exciting. I think that Valheim, they don't have time to build in official support for mods because they're focused on the main game. And I think maybe after like their 1.0 release, they may even add some of the content that the mods do themselves, or maybe support them more. But yeah, they're focused on the core of the game. But because of the way the game is set up, it seems so ripe for mods to add little bits of content. And what a great what an amazing game. I've just never quite seen a game like it in the past. So we're very lucky to be living in this time and see something like this for fans of gaming. I'm so excited. So yeah, sign up. Go to my website, jiroctheviking.com. Sign up. Come to my Discord, discord.gg/jiroctheviking. Get to know all these cool people over here and here. Well, yeah, Digivaste and Digibambi, they might not be real, but
we're getting
nice.
good.
Bambi's got George with her today. He's down there keeping her company.
Well, as Morning Darkness said, it's better than Hugin.
Yeah, that's Gwen's friend. But
Gwen's Valheim bed partner.
yes. They'll have to wait to see that. That might be coming soon. I have some plans. We've so what Morning Darkness is talking about. We recorded a playthrough with 5 or 6 of us, and some crazy antics happen, and we have 5 or 6 episodes, and I just haven't gotten around to editing those yet because there's so much going on. But when I finally, it's evergreen content. I could release it anytime. It's so much fun. But yeah. So let's see what else we got. So Valheim released a new patch today. Let's take a look at it. So I'm going to go to my desktop here, and not that one. Not Gardic phone. There we go. So there's a patch here, and see, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so they released the patch just today. So right before we got on this stream here, while I was sleeping, they dropped this patch.
Yeah.
Morning, were you up when they dropped this patch?
I was.
I know you and I are often up late. I just happened to not be up late enough when they dropped it, but. What does it say? So let me just read this here. It says, this is just a small bug fix patch to correct some issues that arose after the crossplay patch. And yeah, lots of server issues for anybody running a server. If you run a server, you probably know we had all kinds of problems getting our servers running. It broke mods. It killed we had one mod on my vanilla server just to increase player capacity. And that mod got killed. So we were stuck at only maximum 10 players. And we have 160 people that could potentially log in. And we were capped at 10 for about a day. But we finally, thanks to the modder Azumat, great modder out there, who I'm hoping to get on the podcast. I have to talk to him about that. I've recently been talking to him a lot. We were able to fix that. And so we increased our server capacity. But servers experiencing lag and slow loading times. Some people, their build started falling apart, or they would fall through their floor because this stuff wasn't rendering fast enough. Morning Darkness down there is saying, was that you, Morning? Did you have that?
Yeah, my tree house was having some issues loading. And it was really scary a couple of times there. But like it took a good almost 5 minutes for the trees to load in. So my entire build was just sort of suspended in air. And fortunately, I only had to rebuild some of the stairs, and some of the crystal fell apart. But that was the worst of it.
Okay.
Fortunately.
Yeah, one of our
the wood iron beams.
Oh no.
Last for so long. No, they last for so long. They just stay and stay and stay. They just buy you time. And I think that's the only reason I didn't lose my entire build.
So you're saying, you're recommending everybody get lots of iron beams in there?
If you've got a big build, yeah.
Don't push it to the edges, to the limits of what other pieces can hold. No, even if you don't need them, just stick some iron beams in there.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because the calculation for the iron beams is 10 times that of stone. I don't know exactly what the number is. I should look it up or test it. But it was just, yeah.
Nice. Let's see here.
But lag. We were talking about lag and broken mods.
Yeah. But yeah, we had another player on the server who had a build and it fell apart. Most of it. But yeah. I have backups of the server. I might try to blueprint the old version and see if I can't restore some of it. But it's an awkward build because it's in a cave. So I'm not sure how replacing that blueprint is going to work. I have to do some testing. But so they also removed the maypole and the summer crown because they had accidentally reintroduced it in a previous fix patch. So if you're lucky, you put some more maypoles and made some more crowns. Anybody here put some more maypoles or crowns?
Yeah, I made a cart full and I put down some maples.
Oh, nice.
Dandelions were definitely at a premium in that however many day period it was. There was a run on dandelions and thistles.
Well, Brewdeck Dojo had a lot of dandelions, so yeah, that full black metal chest was almost gone.
No, yeah. Well, and so multiple server instances on the same computer is now allowed. I don't know if any of you remember, but when I first launched my server, it was on a second desktop computer that I had here in my office. And because I have a 1 gigabit internet connection up and down, it actually ran pretty well. But for server management, I wanted and other, for my admins, I just wanted a website they could go to easily log in and manage the server. So that's when I finally dropped that. But I always wanted to run multiple servers on that computer, and it wasn't easy back then. So they added that ability if you wanted to do it now. And then let's see, the game launches with Vulcan by default on Linux.
That's going to make so many people happy.
Do you know what that means exactly? What does that mean? What is Vulcan by default on Linux? What is that? What is the benefits of that? Does anybody know?
So I'm not really well versed in Linux, but I believe it has to do with it's a cross-platform API for creating graphics and that sort of thing. So it's basically either it's a different way to interact with Unity, or it does something different than Unity. Once again, I am not well versed, but I know that it's basically so that you can launch Valheim and actually play it on a Linux rig instead of relying on things that sort of bridge that gap or make up the difference.
Yeah, so I Googled it real quick. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you're not quite sure. So I just Googled it real quick, and it says Vulcan is a unified API for all platforms, and it enables simpler drivers as well. Vulcan allows applications to get closer to Metal, thus eliminating the need for a lot of memory and error management, as well as a lot of shading language source. As well as a lot of shading.
So yeah, so it's
drivers will be lighter, leaner, and meaner. So that sounds like a good thing. A little techno babble in there that's a little over my head, but it sounds like a good thing.
Yes.
Profanity filter fixes. Okay. I don't know.
At least I'm not going to dive into it, but we have at least one player in the community whose character name was filtered partially.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
I'm going to leave the rest of it alone, but it was a source of a couple of chuckles, I think.
Yeah, I remember when I logged in the other for one of the events on the server. Yeah, I saw a bunch of stars over their name, so I guess the profanity filter is on that server. I guess, I don't know. Or maybe this patch will fix it and then let their name be displayed again. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Let me wait till he logs back in.
Yeah, let me know if his name is still being filtered, and then I can look at trying to turn the filter off, because I don't think it's necessary with our community. So
he's not online now. So, but I will let you know.
And then was a server Docker launch script added, C manual. I actually should probably look into this because I run as a gPortal server. I don't have access to the launch config. And unfortunately, so there's a few things I'd like to do with the server if I have access to that launch config. I'm wondering if this will help with that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But and MD, didn't you say there was some other addition to this that they didn't mention here? But you don't remember what it was.
Trying to find it. I've been trying to find it this whole time, and I don't know. I don't remember. My brain is a sieve.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll report on that at a later date if we figure out what that other edition was. Let's see. Oh, and then so last week they released a new teaser image. It was on last Friday when the podcast dropped also. And I did a full video on it, but it's this image right here. Isn't that cool?
So pretty.
Yeah. We all want that.
Mushrooms.
So for those just listening in, can you describe it to us?
Yeah, so for you listening in, they released a picture. It looks like we're in the Mistlands. There's a warrior or Viking standing facing what looks like some ruins with a bunch from the black marble ruins that have vines all over them. And see, can I zoom in here a little bit? Notice the vines are slanted there. They're teasing us with vines on every picture. If they don't give us the ability to either grow vines or place vines, I'm going to be a little sad, but they're just putting vines on everything. I mean, as admin, we can do it with mods. We can add the vines, but it would be great for the players because they're just so decorative. It's awesome. Every time I would find anything in the game, any ruin or house or anything that had vines on it, I would always keep that part of the structure intact because it's the only vines you'll ever get, right? And they break really easy. If you break the piece that they're attached to, they break within like a second or two, so you don't even have too much time to try to place something in the place of the build piece. So, but down here on the left, we've seen an image of the mushrooms from their Photoshop picture. I have that actually right here, Frank.
They look a little bit different now.
Yeah, so that's, I was kind of excited when I saw this. Obviously I thought, well, this is probably too much detail for their low pixel art. But this, I think, deviated quite a bit from that. We have, if you just think about like the padded armor and all the little detail that's in the padded armor and the bone shield. So I thought, they could probably get close to this, but it looks like they just went with a totally different design look if it's the same mushroom.
Mm-hmm. It does look like different. It has the Black Forest, blue fairy light glow around it though.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I can see people building around these just because of this cool lighting effect and the sparkles. It'll be fun. And who knows, maybe on our modded server, you'll be able to plant them. I don't know. So just to describe for anybody who's just listening to the audio, there was a long mushroom that was kind of pinky purple, blue into a turquoisey green color, for the cap of the mushroom, and it's kind of in a cone shape. And what they released in the 3D render in game is the sort of the same cone shape, but it's just all blue. And then it's like got little firefly thingies flying around it. And then on the ruins here, in addition to all those cool vines, they got these 2 new lanterns. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in for anybody who's watching.
They look great.
Yeah.
Look at that little frame inside the window too. There's like a frame inside the window. I'm guessing maybe crystals for that. What do you guys think? Think that's going to require crystal or
iron, crystal, and resin, and probably chain?
Yeah. It's definitely hanging from a chain. But
so in vanilla, will they be infinitely lit? Or will they require fuel?
I think they're going to require fuel from the way that they've done everything else. Yeah, I think they'll definitely need to be fueled. And they have 2 of them here on the wall.
What is that in the center between them? There's something like hanging down. See that?
Yeah, that I think is part of this metal work. But yeah, we can't quite see what that thing is. But there is this metal work that's on here in this little square in the center we've seen before. It's kind of like a totem face or something. But
I just haven't seen that hanging thing before. And I wonder if that's maybe a gate.
Yeah, like some people have guessed that those little wheels that we see, which I don't think we see in this picture, might be wheels to turn open a gate or a drawbridge or something. Because they've never been lit, right? They've never been lit. So I don't think they're another brazier. And we don't really need another brazier. So
no,
I'm hoping there's some kind of wheel for a giant gate or drawbridge. And they've talked about drawbridges in the past.
Have they?
Yeah. I think they were going to try to get a drawbridge in before Hearth and Home, but they couldn't get it to work right. So it didn't make the Hearth and Home update. And then we've all seen all these build pieces before, but there were some new build pieces here. And it's these slanted corner pieces. There's 4 of them. So imagine just building a perfect pyramid. You really couldn't without the perfect corner pieces for the very top and the very bottom corners. And these 4 pieces here, this is like a perfect pyramid top right here now. And
those narrow post pieces, those look like they're the same as the wooden beams, but they're made of black marble.
Yeah, they're neat.
Oh yeah, that's going to give all kinds of cool options to have a nice narrow stone beam. We don't have any stone that's this small, narrow.
No, every window frame. That's going into every window frame of mine from here on out. I'm telling you right now.
Your window frames for all your tree houses? Yes. And then they have inverted pieces as well, which they look like they have more of a flat bottom there. So I can just see all kinds of really cool things being done with that. Yeah, I don't know. These are super exciting. So many new build options. Like we're going to see buildings like we haven't seen before because these build pieces are in completely different shapes that we don't have with the other material build pieces. So that's fun.
Yeah, and the blue light actually confirms the guess I always said with the Yaglu thing. We're going to need it for a lantern to drive the mist away. This is just a confirmation for me again.
Oh, yeah. Maybe this light up. So in this. Yeah, go ahead, Morning.
If you zoom out and look up above the building.
Yeah.
There's fog all around with a circle and you can see trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever that is, so there's for those just listening, there's a tower made of the black marble. And at the top of the tower is some kind of light source we can't quite see, but there are like little floaty things around it, like the fireflies. But it's glowing blue. And yeah, the mist around this area is cleared. So maybe that thing there is clearing the mist in the area. If that is how this works, that seems like a really cool mechanic that you have to set something up to clear the mist from your immediate area.
Yeah, I'm betting on it.
My tree won't be forever in darkness. My tree won't be forever in darkness.
So yeah, that's really cool. Well, something I just realized too is the old mistlands with the giant dead trees and the spider webs and all that. That area is in perpetual darkness, right? The old mistlands is perpetual darkness. But from all the screenshots we've seen, the new mistlands will have a normal day and night cycle, it seems like. Mm-hmm. But obviously, lots of mist covering up everything, making it dangerous unless you can somehow clear the mist and maybe this is a hint for that. So that's exciting. See what else we got. Oh yeah, so we're gonna talk about some videos that we posted. So I did do a video on this new image. If you want to see, I cover everything except the new, which we didn't even talk about, the new Battleaxe, the double-edged Battleaxe here, which is a little dark in this image, but I'm planning to take this out and brighten it and actually rebuild it in Photoshop so we can see real big and real clearly what it looks like. But yeah, the character here is holding the double-bladed Battleaxe. That is awesome. Are we finally going to get a special attack for the axe, or will it just be for the Battleaxe? Because we don't have a special attack for the axe.
Maybe for the Battleaxe.
Yeah. So do you think the Battleaxe will still chop trees like a regular axe?
It
should be able to, right?
Yeah.
Because the crystal axe, it chops trees pretty well too, right?
It does. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited to see. I imagine this some kind of a finishing spin attack with this one-handed Battleaxe, like shoomp, shoomp, and then a full like 360 shoomp. That's my hope.
That sound
effect, for decapitation.
Shoomp.
Oh, shoomp indeed.
Yeah, if it doesn't have the shoomp sound effect, then every time I use it and I'm recording, I'm going to go shoomp, 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 shoomp. So that's the video that and then also I did a video for the 1 year celebration stream of the server. So just a few weeks ago, we celebrated 10K subscribers. And then right after that, we celebrated 1 year of my Valheim servers being run because they launched in September of 2022. And that was awesome. Bambi, thank you so much for organizing that.
No problem.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. If you want to check it out, I have it in the live stream section of my YouTube channel. And we run around. You see some of the builds the players have done. There's a little bit of history of the starting village, Naomi, and a few things. And then we play some games that the players set up inside. And those are pretty crazy and pretty fun, I have to admit.
Yeah, and don't forget Loki's time.
No, yes.
Oh yeah, and then there's there's a shrine that was built to Loki, who I play as my admin role-playing character when I run events sometimes. Very cool build. So that's on my channel. And MD, what's been going on over there in your streams?
So I also streamed the 1 year celebration, although I missed out on the games and I was really sad for that. But I got to tour the shrine for Loki and all of that. And then the next day I did my no map challenge and I didn't really record all that much. My stream restarted 7 times.
Oh no.
I had an upload download speed of 1.78 megabytes per second and 6 megabytes per second at one point.
Uh-oh.
Oof.
Oh, it was ugly. It was ugly between the OBS update and the Iron Gate update and the Twitch servers being wonky and getting an update too, I think at the same time. Everything was scuffed. Everything was terrible. At one point, my computer restarted and I lost an entire crop and cultivator.
Oh no.
Oh gosh, no, it was brutal. And we did not find Yagaluth. And then I did a charity stream and we were raising money for an organization called Cake for Kids. They tap local bakers to bake and decorate cakes for at-risk children who might not normally get a birthday cake, whether they're in foster care or homeless or refugees, that sort of thing. And but they need money to help run the technology that helps distribute, hey, these cakes are needed on these dates, that sort of thing. So we did a charity stream. Our goal was $500. And any guesses as to how much we actually raised?
700.
Okay. Anyone else?
I was going to go 6.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. 600.
Yeah,
Last day?
500.
Okay, so you think we hit our goal. Everyone else, Jiroc, you are the closest. We actually hit $800.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
That's amazing.
Congrats.
Yeah. And as stretch goals, we, or what I did is I posted, for every $50 raised, I posted a recipe that is an inspired by Valheim foods recipe that you can make in real life.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. And it was really fun because there were actually a couple of members from our server who also donated. And one person actually messaged and was like, I am so excited to go to my local market and ask for all of these exotic things. But what was really fun was when they looked at the recipe for the loxmeat pie and they were like, wait, I see cloudberries on here. I see that you replaced loxmeat, but cloudberries are real?
No,
What?
they didn't know.
No. And so people were losing their minds about that. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing, because we reached more than the goal, I had other things. And so I started a new challenge run, which I started recording last night, which is a rogue run, which is if you die, you ditch the seed, you ditch your world, you ditch all your gear, you ditch all your builds, you everything. And with that same character, start a new seed and start over. So it's sort of it's my not commitment to a permadeath run.
Mm-hmm.
If you die, everything just ends. I'm doing my character at least keeps all of her skills minus the death the death penalty. But yeah, so at one point on day 5 I went into a burial chamber and I got down to 3 HP versus a 1-star skeleton, but I didn't die.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
It's always exciting when you watch your health go whoop, but it's just that little tiny sliver at the bottom left.
Oh. And then we did some build tours of people who are part of my community and saw what they've been building. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Good. And so let's see. We have some server updates to give. Morning, you want to start us off with that as well?
Sure. So first of all, I'd like to welcome Freakout to the server. He's actually been hanging out in my Twitch chat, and
cool.
He was like, wait, so where are all of these build competitions? I want in.
I think that person posted too in our Discord that they play on another Valheim server and some other games. So they don't even have time to play with us until the coming weekend. And today's only Tuesday. But they were so excited they signed up now. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, and I'm sure that he'll have a lot of fun with all the different things. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's exciting when you and Gwen and a couple of others who are out there streaming and making content are showing off all the cool stuff in our community and enticing people to come play with us. That's awesome. Vaste, what have you been up to for server events?
We have 2 events to talk about. One is the first one was organized by our community manager and one of the members of the community, Mactora and Isorado. That is a greet and meet between the clans and the new players, between the members of the community with the new players to share and meet between them, between us. I was there actually.
And how often have we done that? Do you know about how often we've done that, where we have the clans get together and meet and greet the new players? Is that like every few months we do it?
Yeah, every few months. It depends also because when we have it season 2, like just recently started, we didn't do because most people wasn't even going to pay mind to that. They were so excited finding the POI, so we let
Right.
them play along with the game. And now that everything is more calm, is more focused on the big competitions, we thought it was a good moment to share with the new members.
I think this was the third or the fourth time we did it. It's always
Yeah.
great fun.
A good new member
Awesome.
turnout, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were was there a highlight or a couple of highlights, like really good questions, or just stories told, or from new players? Was there anything that stood out in your mind? Anybody?
Well, what I found very funny, because it's very new now that people join different clans, is when, well, every clan did his thing, and then another clan was on, its turn to talk about what their clan is all about. And there were a few players like, oh, wait, I have to go to that clan now. And that was really funny to see. Yeah. So people were moving all around. So, oh, wait, I have to go there now.
No clan wars broke out as a result of the hopping.
We have all seats of all the clans in one circle, and all the Jarls are sitting on the seats on the throne. And yeah, so a few people were like, oh, wait, I have to go there now.
And when I say war, it's role play only, right?
Yeah.
It's all in good fun.
So
Yes, definitely.
there was only one, and it was just because we want to have like a little fun with the role play.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the other thing is an admin event that I set up on Friday or Saturday, and it was a pirate ship in the playground.
A pirate ship?
Pirate ship. Ares summoned his a ship full of his undead followers to try to attack the city, the community city in the server. And the players had to find the ship and clear it before it lays its attack on the village.
And how did that go? How many players did you get?
I don't know, because it took them so long to find the ship that I wasn't around when they cleared it.
Oh, so did you just like give them a clue in the direction it was, and then they went and found it and cleared it?
Yeah, but the clue was really vague, because the idea was the ship will stay there for a limited time, and whenever the time is done, it will be either doom or success. They succeed this time.
I like that idea. Like, so we have a couple of events that I've put together, and a few others that can be recurring events throughout the life of our community. And this pirate ship idea that you came up with, Vaste, is a great idea, because you can even maybe download others, and we have a ship build competition coming up, so you can maybe blueprint some of those and modify those. But you could do this ghost pirate ship appears out in the ocean somewhere for a limited amount of time with some treasure and some mobs, and players got to find it and clear it, and then it disappears and it goes its way, and that's just that can be a recurring thing. So that was a great idea for that event, so we can reuse that.
Like most of the movies or games, they have a pirate ship. You need to find it if it's there, because most of the time they disappear. So
yeah,
we'll see how it went, but for sure the clue will be more vague, with more the times I repeat it, the clue for where to find it will be more vague, to see how they manage.
Well, yeah, getting on your ship and sailing out into the world is, one of those things that after a while, especially towards endgame, that you don't do as much, because you have hundreds of portals everywhere. It turns into Podheim. So yeah, we give the players, an event out somewhere and they got to hop on their ship and go out and look for it. Get back to the Vikings, seafaring Vikings is pretty fun. And then, this just yesterday, because we record the podcast on Tuesday, but just yesterday we had the reset of our resource server. Happens every 2 weeks, and it's called The Great Folding. I just love that that's become a thing because we get so many people. I think there were almost 30 people logged into Discord yesterday at the high point for that event, and there was 20 something people on the resource server running around. Doing some of them building for the new hotel for the 2 weeks. Karolus, one of them, got visited by a few ghosts over there, didn't you, Karolus?
We did.
Well,
there were loads.
even the builders got visited by a few because the theme for this one was this new world after the Great Folding, the Great Unfolding. The world is cursed with ghosts and spirits that were trapped in this world.
No.
And there was a special location made of skulls, and it had glowing green eyes, giant skulls with glowing green eyes in them. And there's ghosts and a few wraiths all around them, and the souls of this new world had to be released. And 13 locations they have to find. I don't think they've all been found yet. Does anybody know if they've all been found? Nope. Yeah. So Loki might have to log on and do some more haunting since they haven't all been found yet. So until they're all found, there's going to be ghosts all over the place. And New Omi, which is the new hotel named after Naomi on the main server, it's probably going to be haunted since the locations haven't been found yet. We'll have to put that in play pretty soon, maybe right after the podcast recording.
Oh, shit.
No, Jiroc, no.
Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know, if I don't know how many times we mentioned it, but for our resource server right now, we have a system where when the event is cleared, players earn what's called a relic fragment, and they can turn, once they get 10 of them after participating in 10 of these events, they can turn them in to get a transmog armor or weapon or tool. And it's basically, we just take a lower level armor, weapon, or tool and make it equivalent in stats by raising its level to a higher item. So you could have like a troll pants that are almost as good as padded. Just so that they can look different and still be able to have the protection of the higher level stuff. It's kind of a fun little perk that we have going on our server.
And what I like about that, because you changed that, because at first when I joined, there was only a reward for the people that joined in the event, but there now is a relic fragment if you helped build the hotel as well. I really love that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think all of you have been here long enough to know that when we first ran events, we would just kind of place a couple of chests in the event in different places, and whoever found the chest first got the item, and everybody else, there's like 15 people and everybody's fighting, but one person running around looking for the chest, and then they got all the items. We thought, eventually we figured, well, that's not really fair. So, everybody finds a little relic, and or everybody who participates earns a relic, and then they can turn those relics in. That's what a lot of MMOs did, because I remember in early days of MMOs, it was the same thing. I just remember tons of people camping an area. I don't know if some of you go back. So Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies, two that I really remember. There would be tons of people camping an area, and as soon as the mob spawns, everybody tries to attack it and get the loot, because only one drop. And then if you didn't get it, then you got to camp with 50 other people and then hope that you get lucky and get the loot before them. And it created a lot of animosity. Felt like time wasted. And then all the MMOs, they went to a system that was basically rewarding players for participating by dropping a little something for each of them kind of like a currency system. And then you'd use, whether it be a gem, a jewel, or whatever that it drops or some item, but then you turn in all those items and you can get, the loot that you were hoping would drop originally. Right. So that's basically what we started doing. And why I didn't do that from the beginning. I mean, it's all a learning lesson as we go. Right. But yeah, the MMOs figured that out because it didn't feel fair. But that's what we're doing now.
Yep.
Let's see. So now we're going to talk about one of our favorite segments, things we'd like to see changed or added to Valheim. Yeah, if we had a magic wand, if we could push a magic button and say, add this to the game or change this in the game. It's just a fun speculation. We love everything Iron Gate's doing. I'm sure they're going to come up with lots of things that we don't ever even think about. And we'll be surprised. And we love every step. The vision for this is all great. And I have the utmost faith in the vision for the game. But it's fun to speculate and share our dreams because some dreams have come true. Gwen's and Tulkus's wishes on this segment have come true. So let's see. Bambi, what was something you'd like to see changed or added?
It might have been noticed before, and I hope, and I actually think it's going to be in the new update, more options for the ward. So you can say people can open doors, but not chests or something like that, or other way around.
Yes. More options for wards would be great.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I've been in the Discord and they are pretty against the wars. I'm sorry, Bambi, but
oh, no.
The developers?
Yeah.
They are against the wards?
Yeah.
Against adding changes to them.
Okay. Well, there's still a mod for that.
Yes. And
sorry, that's good.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be on our modded server. So some of the one of the mods for adding more functionality to wards. Because there's a couple of things we want to do with it as admins, but we would love to give the players some options too. Although there's a one thing with the mod in that it's kind of an all or nothing thing where we have to give the players all the functionality of the ward or none of the functionality of the new ward with the mod. And we can't give them all the functionality because some of it is kind of game breaking in our opinion for our server for the things, that we want to do. So we're still trying to figure that out and we'll see what happens.
It's seen for another kind of server. Us is so community driven that most of the configurations are not needed.
Yeah. Well, cool. Karolus, what about you? If you could change or add something to the current Valheim, what would that be?
My want is a bit influenced by my Minecraft playing experience. I would really like to see some sort of enchanting system applied. So you could enchant either gear or armor, general items, but not really to make things overpowered, but more to add an option of choice. In Minecraft, for example, if you wanted to enchant a pickaxe, you could only apply a certain type of enchantment to it. If you opted for something that gives you more loot upon collection, you might not be able to apply durability or something like that. So I'd like to see something that allows for more specialization and really you as the player needing to make a decision. What do I want to really focus on? And that might mean that you need to sacrifice some other elements. So really just in the entire theme of specialization that I know that, or customization that I know that people have talked about as wants on the podcast before.
Cool. Yeah. Enchanting is something that we actually are looking pretty closely at for the modded server because
it's going to be.
Yeah, it's fun to, it's all about content. And so how do you give the players more to literally to do, more to do, and not just, just go out and grind more resources, but so if you can find things in the world that you can use to add to a weapon or an armor to just give it a little tiny, perk or slight upgrade, that's, for you already have to get all the stuff to make the armor or the weapon, which, is a content thing, which is great. But if you can, then add to that, instead of just getting the material for the next armor or weapon, you get a little thing, a little gem you can stick in your sword, and make it. You like that sound effect, Mammy? Brink.
I like it.
Yeah, so you brink and you add a little gem to your sword or something to your armor, then it adds a little bit of stats to it, makes it a little stronger or a little perk. That's awesome, because now you have something to do and you have bragging rights when you go out and you get your thing upgraded. And actually it's great for the market, because we're going to have a vendor, an NPC in the game that people can go up to and list items for sale. So you can list items for sale, and the marketplace, instead of like right now, what we do on our vanilla server is, everybody has their own stand, and, you can't have too many instances. So we have multiple marketplaces. And then, right now players have to put out their wares and then hope that a player comes by and, leaves the appropriate coinage or whatever for the item. And it works pretty well because we have a pretty good honor system and our community is pretty trustworthy. But we have with the mod, we have an NPC where you can just give him the item. You can list it on there for whatever price you want. And if you enchant something, if you have 2 of those items and you don't need the second one, now you can offer it to the community. And what's so great about that is, some people, maybe some of you here, have lots of hours to play throughout the week, as where others, they don't have as many hours, so they can't always get everything, to keep up. So you can list it on the marketplace and make it available for others to be able to trade for or purchase. So it should really bolster the trading community. I'm hoping a lot. We'll see how it goes, though. And enchanting would be awesome. Well, MD, what would you love to see changed or added to the game?
Give me my faces. My dog is trying to kill me.
I was thinking, are you okay?
Gassy dog.
Yep. All right. So the ability to place fire pits on grounded floor, or even like a special floor piece that you could add before Iron Age, like just go out and stack some stones or something. I would really like that. That would make building tree houses so much easier.
Yeah, it's hard to place your fires up there in the tree, huh?
Well, and what's silly is that like you can raise the ground, place the fire pit, place a floor, and then bring the ground back down, like pickaxe it back down or whatever. And then you have this floating fire pit, or even a fire pit that's on the wood, which is, I guess, against what they're trying to go for anyway. So I would really like to have something where you could just place a stone, maybe not use a stone cutter, but just something very simple like that, so that you could easily have your fire pit grounded, but pre-Iron Age.
So all I really heard there is that there's a glitch where you can get a fire up, and you want them to fix that glitch, right? So we can't get the fire up there.
No, that is not what I'm saying.
I'm teasing. Yeah, it would be fun to have some kind of thing that you can get a fire up.
It's like you can pick up those pebbles. So maybe just something where like you can just lay down just like a simple set of like rock pile or something, that, because I know that that's not outside of the realm of something that was done. So
yeah.
I like how Jiroc focused on morning's new segment this week on Valheim Bug Reports.
Yeah. Well, we found this bug in the game and we like to exploit it.
Right.
So fix it.
That's not what I'm saying. No.
Morning Darkness just want a treehouse update. Give her a treehouse update.
Yeah. Next week it'll be, the text floats off the signs. We really hate that. Can you fix that?
Don't do that.
No, I know. I'm teasing. Vaste, if you could change or add something to Valheim, what would it be?
I want to ask something this time
Okay.
because with yesterday event, I started to think that from the seasonal server, I picked the thing of using the flesh rippers, the fist weapon,
Yes.
which most people don't like to actually use in fight. But they are really fast. They are really good to use when you need to do a hit and run, because the mod is too strong to actually block them.
Yeah.
And yesterday the event was full of ghosts, so I would really love to have a few fist weapons with extra FS, and especially one with the spirit damage.
Oh, spirit damage.
Yeah. Because the one we have now, it uses silver, but it doesn't do spirit damage.
Yeah, what is it? It's
Sounds
piercing
like
damage. It does, right?
A slash. Full slash damage.
Oh, okay. What was that, Karolus?
That sounds like an enchantment opportunity right there.
Oh,
It sounds like it,
Yeah.
Add a different damage type to a weapon, and maybe it would sacrifice another, type of damage that weapon does.
I need to say there is a mod for that.
Yeah. I see what you did there, Karolus. You brought it back to yours. So you're saying basically Vaste wants your change. add different damage types to weapons. Yeah, that would be cool. So for my change, it comes from their own update. They actually added something to the game, and it made me want more. So they recently added the favorites list. So you probably noticed that whole interface when you're joining servers is different. There's a lot more options there. So you can actually now favorite servers and not have, we used to use a mod to save the servers that we want, and connect to them. But now in game, you can actually add the server there and it's saved there. You can favorite it and it's on a list, so you can always just access it. Otherwise, you got to have a notepad where you have everything saved or something, and you copy and paste it over into the box and then join the server if you don't have the mod. But now you can save it in the game. However, they forgot the password box. I mean, save the password. To put like if I make the password complicated in uppercase and lowercase, you have to still copy and paste that in. It's almost the same as having to paste the IP. So it's like a halfway there, not even fully there yet. If I have to copy the password, I still have, I could have just copied the IP. Why not save the IP and the password so I don't have to do both? I still have to reference an outside source, my notepad or wherever I have the password saved, unless it's super simple. So that's what I did. I made our password simple, no upper lowercase, so people don't have to remember what's what. And but for extra protection, I want a complicated password and it's not saved, so I have to go outside the game to get it. So please, Iron Gate, if I know you listen to my podcast every week, 2 or 3 times during your commute, just to make sure you get all the material that we're talking about. Please think about adding the password to that favorites list for each of the servers we save. That would be awesome.
Can I
A lot of our vanilla players really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it, Morning.
A way to label the servers too, rather than just the straight IP address. Like I know for yours, it actually shows up with the name of Jiroc, the Vikings playground server, resource server, whatever. I don't know if the resource server always shows up that way, but like the rest of them are just IP addresses. So you still have to memorize what each IP address is to know where you're going. And I actually had trouble with that last night.
What I noticed is that if a server is named, the name doesn't always pop up right away because it's refreshing, and all it seems to be saving is the IP address. So it has to, once it finally refreshes the 8,000, there seems to be around 8,000 servers right now. Once it refreshes all 8,000, then you'll see the server name if there's a server name.
Maybe.
But that could be several minutes. So you're sitting there. I want to play Valheim. Which one of because right now I have about 10 in my favorites list because of all my servers.
Yep.
Like, which one of those is the server I want to get on? I don't know. I got to wait for the list to refresh. Yes, that's if we could add a label to it, that would be really nice. Just add your own label. That is a great suggestion. That's almost as important. I mean, as important as the others, because otherwise you might as well just go to your notepad where the IP is and just enter it manually every time, because it'll be quicker than waiting, the 4 or 5 minutes for the server list to update.
Does it even let you just manually enter it without saving it?
I think
I'm not
sure
if there's just a join now like there used to be.
I have been unable to just enter in an IP address without saving it to the list.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
So yeah, if you enter it manually now, it automatically saves it as a favorite. Yeah. So yes, we need passwords and labels, please, Iron Gate. That would be awesome. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. We're coming down to the end, so we're going to talk about us, just us here. You get to know all of us and our new guest, Karolus. And what's that, Morning?
No one wants to know about me. This is ridiculous.
Yes, we do.
That's what makes it so much fun. Like, really, like, how many people in your life, friends and family, do you talk to every single day almost? If you live with them, obviously you do, or you might, depending on, coordinated work schedules, or if you're not getting along that day, maybe you don't talk. But like, we're almost talking to each other on a daily basis, or at least several times per week. And that's how you get to become such great friends. You have common interests, and then, getting to know each other a little bit is fun too. That's why I love this podcast, because of all the admin stuff and making videos, I don't always get to get on to the servers to talk with people as much. So, having you guys here and bringing on, a member of our community each week, get to spend a little bit of time to talk and get to know each other. But only like 5%, less than 5% of the people even make it through the podcast to this far. So for those people, we're going to share a little bit about us. And this week we're talking about one of our favorite gaming experiences. Now, I'm sure you could probably list 100 or more of your favorite gaming experiences, but before Valheim or not Valheim. Could be a long time ago, could be recent, could be whenever, but a video gaming experience that you had that you really enjoyed with people, just the game, whatever. And Bambi, can you share one of your favorite gaming experiences with us?
Yeah, I played a lot of Lord of the Rings online and had a really big Dutchkin over there. And I really loved being on the PvP server there with an old friend, Taco. He is a real, he was born in Amsterdam. And he is really loud, even louder than me, and rude, but so funny. And he yells and screams and curses about everything. And I don't like screaming and yelling and cursing, but he made it so funny. He wasn't like using the normal curses. No, he made curses up like, "You big fat hippo riding on a horse." We were like, "What? What are you saying now?" Yeah, we always had so much fun, and he was triggered very easily. So, yeah, that gave me stomach aches from laughing a lot of times.
Oh, that's awesome to have someone who can bring so much funny to your gaming experience like that, because laughing just releases all them endorphins and makes your cheeks hurt and makes your belly hurt, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, Karolus, one of your favorite video gaming experiences?
There's too many to pick from, but I'm going to go a little unconventional with this. So for those who are familiar with the virtual reality headset, the Quest platform, or even I suppose the Vive platform, there's a game called Beat Saber. And for those who don't know, it kind of combines the concept of like a rhythm game, like a Guitar Hero, with lightsabers. And so you put on your headset, your VR headset, and you've got your controllers. And what you see in that environment, you're essentially standing on a track, and these blocks come down the track at you. And the goal is with your lightsabers to slash them as they approach. And you're doing so along with the rhythm or with the beat. And that game, that experience, first off, VR was pretty new at the time, having the ability to do that in your home. But then with a game like Beat Saber, I actually turned that into an exercise routine. Living in Minnesota, you can't go outside and exercise for much of the year because of how cold it gets. So kind of taking a game that's enjoyable, making a workout out of it, you're essentially gamifying exercise. That's an experience that I think is unlike any other gaming experience because it combines those two elements. You're having fun, you're working out, and you really do. If you put on that headset and you're flailing your arms for a half hour, you're gonna burn some calories and be sweating by the end of it. So it's a pretty unique experience, and something just I think on the forefront of how VR can bring new experiences to people. So Beat Saber gets my vote for the time being.
Oh, nice. I've always kind of dreamt about, because I spend so much time in front of the computer, and a lot of us these days, office job, desk jobs, working in front of the computer. Like I do go to the gym several times a week, but then I sit here all day for 8, 10, 12 hours and get up and walk my dogs. That's, some exercise. I do have, a gym in my garage, and I go out there, do a little bhave here and there, but I get distracted by all this fun stuff or just get lazy and don't want to go do anything. So I have had dreams of like, well, maybe I'll put a little thing underneath my desk and I'll like pedal it with my legs while I'm working out, or some way to find. And I've tried the stand-up desk, and I absolutely hate that. Standing up, like, no, I'm not going to stand for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. But so when you're gaming, though, it kind of, you forget that you're also working out and you're just into the game and trying to perform. So it's cool that they can do that. Well, MD, have you had a video gaming experience that you want to share as one of your favorites?
Sure. Back when I could play League of Legends, I would play Sona. And there was one night when I got a pentakill with Sona. And anyone who's played
Sounds
League
important.
of Legends. Okay, so it's a team of 5 versus a team of 5. And this very special long cooldown special attack for Sona is called the Crescendo. And she does some damage. It's a beam and stuns anyone in that beam who is stuck to do nothing but dance for a few seconds.
Forces you to dance.
And they all lined up for me. And I was like, he are. They all got stunned. All they could do was dance. 2 of them had low enough health that they just straight up died. And then the rest of them, I just went through and picked everyone off. And the entire team was super salty because she's a support character. She's a healer. She's not the badass character with lots of DPS. Like, no. But I had built her in a way where she was doing a little bit more damage than they were expecting. And I killed all 5 of the other team, and we went in and took their fountain, and it was great. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
They were so salty. They were like, Sona, Axe, what did you do?
Look, auntie.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, there's having those what crazy experiences where you do because I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and it was sort of the same thing. Like so many people against so many people, and I actually competed for a few years. I think it was CPL. Anybody familiar? I actually forget. It's been so long. One of the leagues.
I remember STA. Stronger Than All. That was a league for a while.
Oh, okay. That was after when I was playing, but yeah, one of the earlier leagues I played in was CPL, and I think we got to the second highest tier. Like there are several tiers, and we managed to get to the second highest tier before our group, finally went their own ways. But yeah, we had some of those moments where you're running around in Counter-Strike, then up, you could be on the wrong side, receiving side of that, where somebody sneaks up to you, gets all of your team, and you're all, I'm dead too. Or sometimes you'd have that experience where you'd take out everybody, and you'd be like, wow, one man army or one person army. But Vaste, what's one of your favorite gaming experiences? Non-Valheim.
With some of my friends, we have we used to play. Really was before the pandemic. We will get together, go to someone's place, and play all night in there. Connect all the computers in a LAN and play together. And one of those times we play this game called Trauma, and it's like an RPG style, like 2D RPG, where you're in a submarine and you need to complete like a task.
In a submarine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's monsters outside. You need to swim, repair the submarine. The engine can break. A monster can get designed. That kind of things. Like kind of survival, maybe.
Sounds fun.
It's really fun, but one of those times we were goofing around because it was really late. We were playing for a lot of hours, and we were drinking also.
Well, that's always the best gaming experience with friends.
If you do it responsibly. Yeah, responsibly, of course. And we realized we can sabotage ourselves between ourselves, and we start trying all those sabotage. And in one of the moments, I managed to trap everyone in one room and throw the grenades. It was 1 second and everyone was dying, and they didn't even realize because they were fighting between themselves. I just took a step aside, threw the grenade, and got out of the room. I was the only one standing there after that. That's the wrong way to play it, by the way.
Yeah, that's when you're trolling your friends.
Yeah.
It's like if you do get the Valheim playthrough with some of you here, Bambi and I are constantly trying to troll each other by putting campfires down at each other's feet and lighting each other on fire. It's pretty funny. Well, cool. And that game that you mentioned, for anybody interested, is called Baro Trauma. One word, Baro Trauma, Trauma. I just Googled it because I wanted to see what some of the images look like.
It's another early access of Steam also, like Valheim. Yeah. And it's been in early access for a few years already.
Yeah, June 5th, 2019. So pretty recent, just a few years ago. But cool. So yeah, for me, I mentioned just earlier in the podcast, but one of my favorite gaming experiences, and still one of my favorite games ever that I've played, is an MMO called Neocron. And I think I've mentioned it before, and they eventually released a Neocron 2. And I would have loved to see that game kind of get picked up and become really, really popular and a little more modernized with a Neocron 3 or whatever. But it was an MMO, and this the mechanics of the game. It's too. You got to look it up if you're interested. There are people still playing it today, but it's one of those games where they have a bunch of factions. I forget exactly how many, something like 10 or 12 factions, and then you sort of compete for control of the map. It's like a cyberpunk game. So you can upgrade your armor, your weapons, you can put implants in your brain and everything, but you compete for control of parts of the map. If you take over a certain base, you get control of that map, but then you get perks for controlling that. Like maybe you can literally make better gear by controlling that factory. And just some of my favorite gaming experiences that we had. What was it back then? They didn't have Discord back then. It was like Ventrilo or something we used. Do you remember Ventrilo? Yeah, some kind of voice software. I think it was Ventrilo. And we just had like we got so close to each other, kind of like what people are doing today on our Valheim servers, that they would just idle in Ventrilo all day long. And we would just talk to each other when we weren't even playing the game, and we'd get to know each other and talk about things outside the game. But those little battles for controlling the bases, we got so good that with like a group of 2, 3, 4 of us, we could hold off groups of 10 or 15 with strategy, right? Like it's strategy that you have to use. And because we were such a good unit and on voice communication, and we knew each other so well, and we knew what to expect from each other. And there's like 4 classes in the game, so we would always try to have one of each. But like we had such a great cohesive unit. It was so much fun with these people. And unfortunately, the way the internet was configured back then, social media wasn't a thing. That Neocron's kind of an older game. It was before Facebook and all that. So I didn't stay in touch with everybody. But once Facebook became a thing, there were 3 or 4 people that I became Facebook friends with after we all stopped playing the game, and we still stay in touch today. And 2 of them are in England, and one of them is here in the US. And man, I just wish I had was able to stay in touch with a lot more of those folks and try to get them over here to Valheim. I've tried to get one of them over here to Valheim, but he's still so engrossed in World of Warcraft, I can't pull him away from it. Yeah, those little bit when you're all trying to get together for a common goal and working together at it, and then just spending hours. That's why people say to me, well, I'm not big on Discord, or, I don't have Discord, or I'm too shy to talk. And I say, well, my experience has been, you're not going to connect with the community. You're going to come in to our server or anybody else's server. You're going to do your thing, and then eventually you're going to move on. But if you join Discord, even if you just mute yourself and just listen, you're just there to hear all the fun banter. And then maybe you text chat. If you don't have a good mic or a mic at all, just get in and join Discord. Just listen to all the fun being had. Text your messages as you can, because that's really where the community builds, and you can make lifelong friends. I mean, some of these folks have been here almost the full year since the server started, and look, we're all here having fun still. And I hope to see you guys in real life at some events and be playing this, or
Jiroc,
even.
you and I still need to go have a beer.
I know we live. Well, yeah, I know you were hesitant because you have a little one, and your little one had to get vaccinated, and I think that happened recently, though, right? Yeah. Yep. So when you're ready, you let me know, because I'm out there having my drinks and doing my thing and gallivanting around town all the time. So when you're ready, let me know, and we can hook up, go meet up at one of your favorite places. I go to all the pubs and breweries around here, and so
I think you and I have discussed which one we mutually both favor.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorites is actually Epidemic. It's probably,
I haven't been there.
Yeah, it's a brewery in an industrial district up in north end of Concord, up by the 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, there's the other one that we talked about. But yeah, you let me know. We'll get together, and you'll get to see these baby blues that everybody keeps trying to see. Yeah, I need more subs if you really want to see them, Bambi. 100,000 sub reveal eyes. I don't know how much for the head. Not much to show there.
Oh.
Sounds like a content opportunity to me, the two of you meeting up.
Oh, yeah. I definitely have to show up like this. Which is fine. I go out. I go out like this all the time, so it doesn't matter to me. Especially in the summer.
My new wheelchair.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I finally got my wheelchair replacement after 3 months.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Wow, make you more mobile and get out there, and you pick a date that works. Let me know. We're here at the end. Thank you if you made it this far. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you to all of you for joining me this week.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for now. Have fun out there.
Bye.
And go ahead and stop. Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skål!